So the killer of Charlie Kirk got caught. And let's not play dumb. He wasn't black, wasn't Latino, wasn't an immigrant, wasn't LGBT, wasn't a Democrat, and he wasn't trans. Nah, he was homegrown Republican stock, raised on Fox News, family photos with AR-15s, Trump Halloween costumes, the whole God, guns, and grievance starter pack. That's who he was. But the second Kirk dropped, the right didn't pause for a second. They instantly went to war, but not with bullets, with microphones, with their big media outlets. And don't get it twisted. Words are riots, especially when you're using them to spin mobs. They blamed everybody before they even knew who the shooter was. It was just coded racism, dog whistles, basically screaming the N-word without even saying it.
I'm gonna say this. Democrats own what happened today.
Cap. That's gotta stop right there. That's cap. That's cap right there. That's cap.
At no point did it ever cross their minds that it could have been one of their own. I mean, come on, it was more than obvious it was one of them. This happened in Utah, a state where black folks barely make up 1.1% of the population, and Democrats only account for about 13% of active voters. Do the math. Why would anyone seriously think it wasn't one of theirs? History already slapped them with that lesson. The guy who tried to take Trump out was a Republican too. Meanwhile, let's be clear. Black people are not risking 25 to life just to take out some racist conservative. It's not happening. We've been surviving racism forever. We're used to it. I mean, we come from the Call of Duty lobbies.
Fucking nigger, you are with your fucking sniper rifle. You fucking nigger, Alex. You fucking bitch.
Ain't nobody worried about a translucent being racist, but now they want the whole country to sob over Charlie Kirk. They are policing grief, dragging anyone who didn't cry loud enough. Even Kai Cenat, who literally just shrugged and moved on. They even dragged him.
That's the guy with like the crazy ass takes, right? Or some shit. He be saying some crazy. He be saying some crazy shit, right? Holy shit. Don't watch, okay, man. Shit. All right, chat.
You just saw Kai Cenat's response immediately. He found out. It was like, yo, he had crazy takes.
50 IQ. 50 IQ response, bro.
I don't think Kai knows. I think Kai's a good guy, but like he didn't even know his takes. He just knows that he's crazy. He knows the opinion on TikTok is negative, and that was his immediate reaction. It shows the average person.
Bro, they never know, bro.
Seriously?
Yeah, that was crazy. I even saw what Kai said. That was whack too, bro.
Where was the same energy at with Oscar Grant, Stephon Clark, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Michael Brown, Sonia Massey? I mean, Charlie Kirk literally spit on Martin Luther King's legacy every chance he got.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
You've described Martin Luther King Jr. as awful.
There is a mythology around MLK that does not warrant the reverence that he gets treated with in America.
We're a truth-seeking show, but I can say declaratively, this guy is not worthy of a national holiday. He is not worthy of godlike status. In fact, I think it's really harmful.
He said Martin Luther King didn't deserve a holiday, but now all of a sudden we're supposed to roll out the violins for him. It's like they always demand black people to be the better person. Smile like Obama, preach like MLK, forgive like it's our full-time job. But when it's their turn, they collapse. They demand sympathy they never once gave. And the gaslighting is wild. Actually, no, it's cringe. They're cringe as fuck. Trying to guilt black people or anybody into feeling bad for not caring is insane. Everybody's out here shaming folks like we're supposed to mourn a man who disrespected communities nonstop, baited people just to tear them down, and made a career out of it. Why would anyone feel bad for that? That's weird. That's weird as fuck. And with the people making fun of him or celebrating his death, yeah, of course it's wrong. It's wrong to make fun of anybody's death. You shouldn't disrespect the dead. But could we not act brand new? Social media is desensitized, and the other side does the exact same thing when it comes to us. Death gets mocked across the board, so don't suddenly draw the line here. Y'all want to draw the line when it comes to this guy all of a sudden. And man, Black Twitter been trolling the fuck out of the situation.
Everybody catching bullet holes. Niggas got me on my bully, yo.
Fuck your homie with his dead ass, nigga.
Fuck a cougar like she Holly Berry. Future Hendrix, Dirty Sprite, legendary.
I got the strap. Hey. I gotta carry him.
I mean, damn. I'm even offended.
But then how much cap going on right now?
I'm the villain.
I don't care. I really don't give a fuck.
I look like I care. Look. I don't care.
This is such bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. I just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it. Use your freaking words as they're talking to you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving down a Provo right now. I'm so pissed. Damn it.
Yeah, but you literally have idiots, demented fucking demon ass bitches out here supporting the shit, dog. So y'all die on that sword, bro. Y'all keep barking that shit. Y'all keep talking that shit. Y'all are giving the other side a reason. Y'all gonna fuck around and find out. Now you gave motherfuckers the ultimate reason to pop off because you took out the ultimate right winger, bro. You took out the top of the fucking food chain. The only thing higher than that is fucking Trump. You missed out on that motherfucker. And this shit's worse because you actually took Kirk out. So what that means is that there's no talking. There's no talking. Y'all keep that fucking energy, bro. No.
You motherfucking animals! You liberal, progressive, deranged fucking animals! You are so hateful in your hearts to go out and shoot a young man who's never hurted anyone with Christian values, a young, beautiful family, a father, a husband, a friend, a son. You shot him. Why? Because you didn't agree with his politics? Because you didn't agree with his ideology? That's the reason why he deserves to die? You fucking animal! You fucking animals! You animals!
Man, all that crying, yelling, pointing fingers, doing the whole blame game marathon for it to end up being white on white crime. Right versus right. In-house. Y'all gotta hold that L. Hug it, sleep with it. Don't try to deflect. But all I see on my timeline is y'all doing Olympic level deflections. And it's low-key hilarious. I'm just trying to figure out how everybody has all this hate in their chest for people that literally had not a damn thing to do with it. Nothing, zero. They just mad to be mad. They using it as a crutch. So then there was a court video of Tyler hearing his charges today. He heard that death penalty hanging over him and he looked like he could care less.
Mr. Robinson, for count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-5-202, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life.
Just sitting there like, okay, whatever, zero remorse. Dude is a real demon. Look at that thug right there. It's crazy because there's, I guess, some evidence, some text messages that are coming out. I can't hold, they look low-key fake, faker than a TikTok skit. Because who the hell writes vehicle in a text message at 22 years old? I mean, Twitter been lighting that up. Man, people are way too obsessed with this division. It's literally getting people fired and kicked out of school. And the irony of all this is it's the same crowd that won't shut up about free speech. They scream free speech until somebody flips the mirror on them and gives them the exact same energy they've been throwing at everybody else. And then suddenly they out here snitching, tattletelling, calling HR and the principal and the dean. And y'all can't act brand new. We've seen y'all make memes about our people before. Sigged on Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, years of that.
George Zimmerman was hunted at night by Trayvon Martin at 2 a.m. and the stand your ground law allows you to stand your ground up against people that wish you harm.
Y'all can't handle when somebody makes jokes about your side. Suddenly jobs are gone and students are expelled. That's not free speech, that's hypocrisy.
We have sent out over 300 emails to employers, and we have gotten now 15 confirmed fires.
So I've lost my job. I got called into the office yesterday, or they're getting rid of me because of my TikTok. Somebody screenshotted and mailed them to the office to my boss.
Yo, I just woke up. Y'all got me fired from my job.
So someone on here said that they're gonna report me to my job so that I lose my job because I posted that video where I'm showing you guys the things that Charlie Kirk has said.
So I got fired from my job today because one of you guys decided to send my videos, my Charlie Kirk videos, to my boss.
I made some stupid comments about Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry, not sorry for, but I said them. I deleted them when it was requested that I do so by my employer. And then today, on a weekend, I'm told that I am no longer employed at Microsoft.
And it proves that they're only fighting for their own entitlement, not for everybody else. On a serious note, nobody should die over politics, but words have consequences. Yeah, maybe extreme consequences at times. I mean, shit, you push, you poke, you antagonize, somebody somewhere eventually is gonna react. It doesn't make it right, but it makes it reality.
And I'll tell you one more thing that's on my mind tonight, and conservatives everywhere. The idea that people are saying, well, he was an extremist, or he was a racist, or he was a Nazi, or a misogynist, whatever. Charlie Kirk was a mainstream conservative Republican. He had views that are held by tens of millions of people, including more than half the country in the last election.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. It begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. And in the spirit of affirmative action, we have Ramon and Cadillac are your two pilots. They've never flown before, but they are black. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action?
And the same crowd that sympathizes and understands the white school shooter who says, I was bullied, that whole story suddenly goes deaf when the roles are flipped. Like Dylan Roof, when he massacred a black church and cops fed him a Burger King sandwich. And now they've lost their damn minds, calling Kirk a civil rights leader. You know, civil rights is equality. Kirk's rights were entitlement, silencing, suppressing, and punching down.
I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. The war on white people continues. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat serious. Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. Data shows they were actually better in the 1940s.
Let's get loud for Kyle Rittenhouse.
I'm also going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George Floyd that no one dares to say out loud, which is that this guy was a scumbag.
He's going to be so missed, and I just wish and pray that people can at least take the time to not just read little clips of what he supposedly said or did, really watch his videos from start to finish, because what they're saying about him is really disheartening. He was a wonderful man. He loved everybody. He didn't discriminate. He didn't discriminate. He didn't discriminate.
Remember what BLM stands for? Burn, loot, and murder.
He didn't discriminate.
Black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot.
He didn't discriminate.
Black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did. So what are you going to do, cancel me?
He didn't discriminate.
Messages that makes him similar to MLK in that way. What change was he trying to enact?
So you can say that, like, so are you okay if can I guess like what you think Charlie thinks? So you're surprised that I'm comparing to MLK because do you think that Charlie was driving races apart?
Oh no, you don't have to like assume what I'm thinking.
Okay, no. So no, we do believe that Charlie was trying to bring us together and he was trying to lift us towards Christ.
Comparing him to MLK isn't just a lie, it's spitting on MLK's grave. Right-wing politicians often hide behind this so-called Christian values, the same way the KKK did, using religion as a shield to justify harmful rhetoric and push their agenda under the banner of God's word. It's disgusting. Calling Charlie Kirk a civil rights leader is a joke. Real leaders fought against laws that built to crush touched people and actually lifted entire communities. Charlie didn't either. I mean, unless you want to count the right wing, the privilege, then okay, sure. If you want to count Trump, okay, fine. People swear he was some kind of warrior for free speech. But can we be honest? The First Amendment existed long before he was born, and it isn't going anywhere. He wanted the freedom to say whatever he wanted to say without ever having to face consequences. His ideology was chaotic, sloppy, and dangerous. The man literally said in public that he wanted people to be unalived in public, and now he's gone in public.
We should bring back, public executions on certain people. No, but think about it. That's how you should. By the way, this is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals. It should be public. It should be quick. It should be televised.
Honestly, that's like what we should be doing, and I agree. It should be public and public square.
By the way, you could
force
fund the government
to watch it.
You could have brought to you by Coca-Cola. And no, I'm not kidding. By the way, I would totally tune in to see someone get their head chopped off. And you know what? I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. I want to see him on a public block and get him be publicly executed. And I think that would be justice.
Don't make kids watch it. And I think, no, the absolute
I think at a certain age, it's an initiation.
16, you can drive, you can watch
hold on. You should see it. What is the age? At what age should you start to see public executions?
16.
I think you could do it earlier. I think you maybe at age 12.
The irony writes itself. And the truth is, two things can be true. Does it seem like our freedom of speech isn't so free at times? Of course. Am I against somebody speaking so freely and chaotic? No, not necessarily. Do what you want to do. I'm about doing and saying whatever the fuck you want to say. But understand that consequences will happen though. Sometimes you'll fuck around and find out. I'm not with the silencing. Don't silence nobody. You want to be an open racist? I mean, by all means, the floor is yours, but consequences sometimes come with that.
I just want to point out that the Democratic Party has had a far more sensible and reasonable response to the Charlie Kirk shooting than the Republicans, and this is not even up for debate. And I'm not talking about random people online. I'm talking about people with influence in the Democratic Party. Obama said, "We don't know yet what motivated the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk." This was the day of, but this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. Michelle and I will be praying for Charlie's family tonight, especially his wife Erica and their 2 young children. Joe Biden said something similar. There's no place in our country for this kind of violence. It must end. Jill and I are praying for Charlie Kirk's family and loved ones. Kamala Harris said, "I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I are sending our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Political violence has no place in America." But some of the most prominent Republicans online who've been invited to Trump's White House by him had a different tune. For example, Libs of TikTok said, "This is war." Gunther Eagleman, "They've declared war." Joey Manarino said Democrats should be labeled as terrorists. Elon Musk said, "If they don't leave us in peace, and our choice is to fight or die." What? Laura Loomer said that Democrats are a national security threat and said that Democrats randomly should be investigated for no reason. This is someone who's at the White House like every other week. Every major Democrat who's actually elected or has been elected or has influence in the party has come out and said, "We condemn this 100% and it's wrong." But the Republicans, many of these influencers, are declaring civil war. What?
And what exactly pisses me off is they want the whole country to kneel and whisper grace for Kirk. But where was that same grace when George Floyd was turned into a meme? Where was it when Emmett Till's mutilated body was paraded in classrooms as a history lesson instead of his humanity? Black people have been forced to eat centuries of trauma, raw, with zero sympathy. But one racist dies, and suddenly we're supposed to bow our heads like it's a funeral in church. I need to miss me with that shit. It missed me with saying that he's not racist. The things he said was indeed racist. Or maybe you could say prejudice. I feel like it's all under the same umbrella though. Don't get it twisted. I'm not out here celebrating death, please. I'm not, because I feel like karma's a big bitch with a wide back. Watching anybody bleed out on camera, that isn't normal. It scars you. I wouldn't wish that on anyone's kids. Or nobody's family. Death doesn't wipe the record clean. Doesn't mean pretending he was something he wasn't. Kirk went out the same way he lived, wrapped up in the same violence he spent his career justifying. He justified that shit. And that's the real headline. America doesn't hate violence. It just hates when violence goes off script. If it's black on black or immigrants hurting each other, okay, whatever, whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo.
But let that same violence loop back and smack their poster boy. Now it's a national tragedy. Now it's martyr talk. Now it's candlelight visuals and a moment of silence at NFL games. And honestly, you can't bully me, man. You can't bully me into the fake sympathy. Not because I don't know what loss is, but because I know double standards when I see them. I know the same system that handed Kirk a platform is the one stomping us out every day, then gaslighting us to show grace. So let me put it plain. This ain't about Charlie Kirk. It's about America's selective grief. It is what it is. I don't care if it's an uncomfortable topic. Y'all just gonna have to hear it for what it is. Black death gets TikTok jokes and hashtags. White death gets memorials and sainthood. Until that hypocrisy dies, don't expect me to play violin strings for a man who cashed checks off keeping that imbalance alive. He was for the division. And what's crazy is Charlie Kirk's actual last words. No, they weren't about peace, family, or anything remotely noble. He wasn't leaving this world with wisdom. He was mid dog whistle. He was doing what he always did, trying to convince people that trans folks are some lurking threat while ignoring the fact that statistically the most dangerous person in America is a conservative white man with a gun. That's not opinion, that's data.
Yeah, this is working. Hey Charlie. Hey, hopefully we're gonna have a little bit more disagreement.
So it was, I came in and I said, hey, there was a shooting that happened maybe a few weeks ago in Minneapolis.
And ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans.
Do you think, is that, you agree with this? Is that a fair assessment or something like that? And he said yes. And then I said,
so do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
And I said, there's 5.
The debater started to check him. How many trans shooters have there ever been? 5 total. Kirk couldn't even admit that. He just smirked it off and said that there's too many. Then the debater flipped it on him. Okay, let's talk about mass shootings. Translation, let's talk about white men.
And I said, do you know how many shootings there have been? I think maybe my memory's a little hazy. I haven't rewatched the videos, honestly. But it was something like this, which I knew the answer. It was a little under 6,000. He said something like, we need to account for gang violence. And I think I was like, I was in the middle of saying, great, did you run a statistical analysis on that, right? Like essentially saying you have the burden of proof. And I think I was in the middle of saying that.
Kirk reached for the same tired line. Does that include gang violence or not?
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
And then those were his literal last words. He was unalived, dodging reality, disrespecting black people, anything to avoid accountability when it comes to bashing everybody instead of white conservative men. And the irony, the exact same day another school shooting happened. I mean, that's not funny, it's horrible. But guess who pulled the trigger? A 16-year-old white boy. You cannot make this shit up. Now, conservatives are spiraling online. They've been spiraling all week, crying like this is the greatest tragedy their world has ever seen. They are losing it, crashing out, going stupid online. Meanwhile, as a black man in America, I can't find sympathy for Kirk. I don't cheer for death. That's dark. That's weird. But do I feel bad? No. Hell no. Fuck no.
Hell no. Hey, fuck no. Fuck no.
Because like I said before, when it was Oscar Grant, Stephon Clark, or Breonna Taylor, they laughed. They mocked us. They told us to get over it. They questioned the situations. They made memes, which is fine. Do your thing. Show me how you really feel. Every single time tragedy hit our community, they found a way to make it our fault. Oh, but when it's one of their own, suddenly it's too far. Suddenly it's off limits. Suddenly it's, we blame everybody else. That's why trolling death will never sit right. Because when the narrative flips, when it's your side in the coffin, it doesn't feel so funny, does it? It's like, come on, bruh. Even when they found out who the shooter was, when they realized it was one of their own, they still spin the block to target HBCUs. The hate for black people runs so deep it doesn't even make sense. At this point, they rather eat their own shit than admit they're wrong. That's insane and wild behavior. I don't even know why I paint that kind of kind of picture. That's crazy. And they don't ever bring that kind of smoke to the hood. They over here threatening HBCUs, but they wouldn't dare bring that to the hood. They know better than that. Nah, they'll only pop off at schools and innocent people because they know they'll get folded the second they tried in a real ass hood. These are the same people who clown Mexicans, mock immigrants. I mean, Charlie Kirk literally went to a school and debated in an ice hat, cracking jokes while families were being ripped apart. Real human suffering. And the right treated it like it was stand-up comedy or some shit.
And now I'm not.
What does your hat say?
ICE.
What does that stand for?
Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. Hey, don't touch it.
What are you doing?
Gotta let her have her emotions, man. Just listen.
Have a nice day.
Listen, I'm not saying that she was right.
Let's have a conversation.
She was wrong for that. But you gotta show yourself.
He didn't discriminate.
They laugh at that misery. They think shit like that is funny. The second those same tactics get flipped back on them, suddenly it's too far. Suddenly it's crossing the line. They don't want the truth. They want immunity. They call it debate, but it's not debate. It's rage bait. They just picking apart words like vultures, hunting for triggers just to push people buttons. Then they slap a Bible verse on it, hiding behind Christianity, and try to act holier than thou while spitting venom. But the energy you push out is the energy that just comes back. And that's exactly the karma Kirk invited into his own life. You have to understand that. And he knew that. He was okay with that.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Chank. I live as a capitalist.
He didn't discriminate.
You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive.
He didn't discriminate.
You had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped. And she was gonna give birth and she would, and she was gonna give birth and she was gonna live. Would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
But it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
Now people are rewriting history. This whole civil rights leader shit, that's just insane, man. Civil rights is about liberation, equality, protection for all, and Kirk stood against all of that. It's the fact that he disrespected the civil rights movement, the very reason black folks even have basic freedoms today. Basically implied it never should have happened.
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Why did you say that the civil rights bill should be overturned?
I didn't say that. I said it was a mistake.
Why? That's crazy.
Now you gotta figure it out.
I wouldn't be here. That's trouble.
But because he said this with a smile, wrapped it in Christianity, and wasn't too dark-skinned, people called it values instead of what it was, which is hate. And one of Kirk's go-to talking points was black families are broken because the dads aren't around.
What percentage of blacks have a father around when they're raised? 20%.
So that's why you
80% of
think it
blacks
is.
do not have a stable father around. It is the most predictable way to end up in prison, end up as a murderer or a criminal.
And why
It's
do
not
you
a
think that's
racism
a problem?
It's not a white supremacy problem. It's a fact that black fathers impregnate women and they don't stay around with the women
And
that they have
why-
impregnated. It's culture. It's accepted in the black community. And it
so
shouldn't
it's
be.
culture. Okay.
75% of black youth are raised without a father in the home. 75%. The more money we've spent on black America, the less fathers we have because black women divorced black men and married the government.
Yeah, sounds real neat and packaged, right? But what he never admits is that this wasn't some accident. It was engineered. White America built that system. All right, so let's get into our history bag real quick. We already ranting today. This is a rant video, obviously. Let's really get down to this. We're gonna talk about everything. So from day one of slavery, the strategy was clear. Break the black father, rip him from his family, sell him off, work him to death, humiliate him through buck breaking in front of his wife and kids. Strip the image of protector and replace it with fear and trauma. That was not random cruelty. That was policy. That was design. And trauma like that doesn't just disappear when you sign a law. It gets baked into generations. People love to play dumb about history, but let's do the math. 400 years. 400 years of slavery. Even if you only count US slavery after independence, that's still 246 years of slavery. Slavery ended 160 years ago. Civil rights got passed just 61 years ago. 6 decades. That means my parents' parents lived through a time when being black and equal was literally illegal. 400 years of chains versus 61 years of freedom. Put those numbers side by side and tell me with a straight face that that wound is healed. History isn't ancient. It's still sitting at the dinner table with us. Now put it together. You got 400 years of slavery, another 100 years of freedom with no rights though. That's 5 centuries of being stripped down, shut out, and locked in. And we're barely 60 years into actually having rights on paper. Just 60 years. That's nothing compared to centuries of being treated as property. And even then, the first 30 of those years were spent shoulder to shoulder with people who didn't even believe civil rights should exist. When the civil rights passed, the law said black people had rights. But did that suddenly make racist white folk treat them with respect? Hell nah. Man, that hate didn't disappear overnight. It stayed in their homes, their jobs, their neighborhoods. Black people still had to live amongst people who hated their very existence, still dealt with cops who refused to protect them, and still lived under a system that looked the other way. The law might have changed on paper, but people carried that hate in their hearts for years, and many still do. Because if my grandmama lived through that, my grandma actually lived through integration. She was a part of the school system that integrated, and she's alive today. She's alive to tell those stories. That's how recent that shit was. When they couldn't keep us chained, they kept us broke. Banks denied the home loans. Employers blackballed black men, knowing the traditional family model relied on the men working while women stayed at home. That was their way of life back then. So no jobs, no housing, no way forward. That was all by design. And that's exactly why the Black Panthers were born in Oakland. Not as some glorification of crime, but as survival networks, protecting the neighborhoods from white supremacists, especially because the system refused to do that. And right when that structure formed, the government flooded our streets with dope, lit the fuse and called it the war on drugs. I mean, come on, man. Y'all already know what it is. It wasn't a war on drugs. It was a war on us. Locking up black men was profitable. Private prisons cashed in. Meanwhile, the DEA teamed up with the CCA. They trying to lock niggas up. They trying to make new slaves. That was the 70s, the 80s. That was the 90s. Whole generations funneled straight from slavery to prison.
When I put this fashion on, I'm a fashion junkie picking cotton in the country. I bought this out the country. Whips and chains, whips and chains.
That pipeline isn't broken history. It's living trauma passed down. Only now are we even starting to piece it back together. Going to college, building businesses, taking control. Why? Because the generation that actively held us down are old now. They are unaliving and losing their grip. And honestly, if it weren't for social media, a lot of the truth would still be buried. So Charlie Kirk's whole argument collapses because it's built on ignorance. He has zero cultural knowledge, zero environmental awareness, zero understanding of what it actually means to grow up inside a system designed to shape and limit you. He doesn't get what it means to be a product of your environment. Y'all never cared about our black tears. Don't ask for black tears now. It ain't happening. Well, at least not from me.
This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation, but I guess
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been
that affected
in the last 80 years.
The generational psyche of an entire group of people.
But here's reality. That was because of segregation. We were forced into boxed off neighborhoods, given our space, while those areas were deliberately underfunded and starved. And of course, we built something for ourselves. Survival is all we know. But there was always a ceiling, and the second we pushed too close to it, they would torch it. You know, something like Tulsa. That's why Martin Luther King and Malcolm X fought in the first place. Segregation wasn't freedom. It was containment. Black communities didn't thrive more back then. We were surviving inside cages, making the most out of our scraps. There was no luxury, only limitation, and the system made damn sure of it. And honestly, bruh, besides that, this was also a time when all Americans, including white America, were flourishing with land and home ownership. Back when money wasn't inflated, taxes weren't crushing, and a simple 9 to 5 could get you a house. Homeownership overall was higher. I don't understand why they only focus on the black stats, ignoring that everyone was doing better back then. The real irony is that even in that so-called golden era, black Americans were still treated the worst. So how great could it really have been? If you want to understand, you have to live it. Go move to a hood, rent out a rundown apartment, and watch how systematic neglect plays out in real time. But most of you guys wouldn't last a week anyway. You're too scared. And meanwhile, people like Charlie Kirk and white America had a 500-year head start. 5 centuries to build wealth, stability, and comfort, while programming an entire people to believe they were inferior. I don't know if I should continue painting a picture here. I feel like I need to because I don't see it enough. I don't see people combating with this enough. I feel like I need to. I mean, our ancestors had to live shoulder to shoulder with people in ghost robes, burning crosses in their yards, whose grandfathers literally treated lynchings like communities' festivals. I mean, just imagine it, picture it. Cause I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show it on here. Kids smiling for the camera while a body swung from a tree. Unaliving was their weekend entertainment. Fuck the movies, they were unaliving people. Food, laughter, chanting with human beings tortured in the background. That type of stuff today would get you locked in a psych ward as a deranged lunatic. And our ancestors didn't get therapy for that. They didn't get rehab. They all lived amongst each other. That kind of trauma does not vanish, it mutates. So the oppressors pass their hate to their kids, while the oppressed pass down their survival instincts wrapped in pain. That's generational trauma. Both sides inherited it, and we're still playing out those scripts to this day. I'm only talking about this right now because, my God, these motherfuckers are pissed. Yelling at us, threatening our HBCUs because of what their white on white crime did. That's white on white crime. Why the fuck are we inheriting your beef? Anger shows itself clear. I mean, these are the same people who still obsessed with George Floyd 5 years later. They act like he's our hero and it's weird. They try and paint this narrative like we praise him or look up to him. No, we called out injustice, police brutality, the same way we called out Rodney King's beating. And the one time conservatives felt even a fraction of that grief, they folded. They can't even handle it. And what's truly disgusting out of all this is when it comes from our own people. I mean, if a translucent do it, I expect it. But when I see failed minorities, the coons, the sellouts, when they jump up to defend people who would never defend them, man, that's so pathetic. These dumb motherfuckers think caping for racists make them look smarter or more respectable. I guess they feel above it all. But in reality, it makes them look weak, spineless. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, people die every day.
Whoop they do.
And every one of them leaves behind family, kids, and people who cared. And believe me when I say, you don't just look pathetic to us, you look pathetic to them. I hate to break it to you, but they're never gonna see you as an equal, man. To them, you're just the good boy, the mascot, the useful idiot who pushes their agenda. And that's where it ends. They'll use you, then discard you. And your dumbass is still gonna stand there thinking you were a part of something.
I'm gonna say this. Democrats own what happened today. I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. They probably, all the kids of every conservative in the country called panicking.
Man, fight back! White 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 man, fight back!
I'm starting to think they're using this man as a prop. It just seems like they were all itching for an excuse, and now they got one.
Mr. President, I implore you, call for a civil war. Call for a civil war and let us do our thing. Let us go door to door, street by street, and clean this country. Please, if you're watching this, you share the same sentiment, send it to Donald Trump, share it on your page, whatever. Get this message out there. This is not a joke. I'm a peaceful man. Time for peace is over. I'm willing to fight and I'm willing to die. We are all Charlie Kirk.
They're running through this bitch like it's the Olympics or some shit. Where is all this rage really coming from? You're mad, okay, cool. But screaming for people to be unalive just to kick off your little Civil War fantasy? That's insane. That's weird. It's the fact that black people never call for that. Latinos never call for that shit either. Immigrants didn't either. Nobody outside of y'all ever screamed Civil War. That's your daydream, not ours. And honestly, it's corny as fuck. And the last time you guys lost anyway, why the fuck would you guys want to do this shit again? Stop it. Stop it. This whole thing smells like another divide and conquer script. And I'm not rocking with the shit. Shit weird. They are literally using their words as gasoline, and they're trying to light a match. People act like riots only count if you torch something. Nah, you can riot with propaganda. And that's exactly what they're doing right now, shifting the country with rhetoric. And it's crazy because they're doing all this shit as if they didn't pull the biggest act of treason in modern history, storming the US Capitol. They got pardons handed out like party favors. If that's not white conservative privilege, I don't know what is, because that shit wouldn't have happened for anybody else.
Why are y'all so angry? You have the White House, you have both houses of Congress, you have a Supreme Court that is completely obedient to your president. They're willing to give him unlimited power. They're willing to say that he can take SEAL Team 6 and kill anybody he wants. They were willing to affirm that. They're willing to say that ICE can racially profile anybody they want. The United States Supreme Court has said you can racially profile Latinos based on their accent or the way they look. You guys have everything you want. You have legal racial profiling. You've ended DEI. You've ended affirmative action. You get all the best jobs even if you're not qualified. You can be a Fox Weekend host and be the Defense Department's Secretary of Defense. You can be Kash Patel and be a podcaster who wants to go to Valhalla and run the FBI as long as you're conservative. You have everything. Why are y'all so angry? What the fuck are you angry about? You've banned all of our books. You've banned Black history. You banned the 1619 Project. You don't have to compete with women for jobs. You've chased them out of the military. You've chased them out of the senior positions in the Department of Defense. You've gotten rid of all the Black history in the museums. Museums are terrified. I have contacts that I'm talking to inside of the Interior Department, people who are running all of those spaces where you can go and see a Civil War memorial or something. The people who work in these places are terrified. They're afraid to tell the real history. The people who are working for the federal government are afraid to say the word Black. You guys have canceled Black scholarships. You're damn near, I guess, ready to get rid of HBCUs. Donald Trump just recently said they're not going to fund any minority serving institution. Y'all have gotten rid of that. You've gotten rid of help for Black kids to go to college. What more do you want?
I mean, they control everything and they're more mad than they've ever been before. Suddenly it's chaos. Like, y'all don't even want peace. Y'all want smoke. You guys crave it. You guys wanted it to be a black or brown face behind that trigger and it wasn't. It was one of yours. No apology, no accountability. Blaming the Democrats and the leftists. It's fucking weird, bro. What black person from the hood lining up with a sniper rifle for some racist? And then the governor, man, this dipshit.
For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered.
He wanted to drop the hard R so bad. What the fuck do you mean, man? What do you mean you were praying it was somebody else? Why is that your first prayer? Please let it not be one of us. That is crazy. That is not leadership. That is racism. Why are you governor of a state saying some shit like that? You are dividing people. And it's crazy because Utah is one of the reddest states in America. Barely any black people even live there. And instead of owning up that one of your own people did this shit, you rather deflect, point outward, and keep the division going. That's proof the whole thing was never about truth. It was about weaponizing Kirk's death for more chaos. The whole thing is ugly. And let me be clear, I'm not in the business of mocking death. That ain't my lane, and I believe in karma. I'm good off that shit. But I ain't shaming the people that are doing it either, because the other side been doing it. They've been doing that shit forever. Black pain was the punchline. So when I see people clowning Charlie Kirk's death, is it sad? Yeah. Am I shocked? No. I'm not shocked. That's the thing about energy. You pump out hate nonstop. Don't act surprised when it comes back full circle. So no, I'm not mad at the people that are sigging on him. I just don't join in it. I don't fuck with karma like that. I'm good. I don't fuck with that type of shit. That shit is dark, especially when families are in the picture. But don't mistake that for me being on some turn the other cheek martyr act either. Cause nah, we tried that. We tried that for 500 years. I'm not even trying to be cringy right now. I'm being serious. My people tried that already. I'm not built for the silence and the forgiveness. My job is to call out exactly how it is. Did Kirk deserve death over his political views? Of course not. But let's not rewrite him as some innocent angel silenced for opinions. His whole brand was bullying, weaponizing a platform to demean groups of people. That's more than just a debate. That's targeted harassment. And here's the part people keep missing. You don't know what someone in the crowd has been carrying. People break, people snap, keep poking, keep mocking, keep laughing at entire communities' pain, and eventually somebody decides they're not gonna be your punchline anymore. Nah, man, it don't work like that, player. You can't demand empathy for a man who made a career out of dehumanizing others, because nobody owes him that. It is what it is.
I don't